All right. I think we are live. Yes, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second webinar of the Big Nine season. Today, we'll be answering some questions for you guys who have already started filling their forms. And yes, we have a week left, a couple of days left, actually. And today with me is Daniela and Sebastian, who will be answering some questions. My name is Amparo. I'm the CMO at Startup Chile. I will be your host today. And with me, Sebastian, who is the Director of Acceleration, and Daniela, who is our Process Coordinator. We'll start with a little presentation for you guys to know more about Startup Chile and what you're applying to, and also some good and bad ideas on your application. Okay, so Seba or Dani, I don't know who's starting. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Amparo. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me here again. And today, obviously, we're going to talk about the first public accelerator in the world. That means Startup Chile, it is government-backed. And obviously, we have become a sort of case study. Even MIT, Harvard, and OECD have conducted some research about the results and the methodology we use here at Startup Chile. But now I would like to talk about the companies we are looking for. Obviously, we look for tech-based and innovative solutions, but not just the trend or cool solutions, but the ones that can impact this country and Latin America and the rest of the world, and obviously solutions that are scalable. So that means that you can grow more than locally, but to the rest of the world too, and reaching bigger markets and so forth. And obviously the impactful companies extending the things I have said. So obviously we seek for companies from diverse of industries and diversity of technologies that can impact in different industries, such as, I don't know, education, healthcare, agriculture, fintech solutions, and so on. Talking about our programs, as you might know, we have 3 different programs, and you obviously can apply to more than one of them. And we call our programs the big one, because we have the Build, the Ignite, and Growth programs to support your business. Talking about directly to the Build program, if you are in an idea stage, you are a compelling and good team, you can apply to this program. This is all about validation if you have some uncertainty yet. So the Build program should be the alternative for you. We're going to support your project with 15 million Chilean pesos, and all the activities will be oriented to validation. The mentoring process, the academia, the peer-to-peer sessions will be oriented to validate if you are solving a real and relevant problem. If you are more advanced, obviously, if you have a prototype or even an MVP, if you have experimented directly with your users or clients, if you have some data, if you have validated learning, the Ignite program is the best for you. And we're going to support to you with 30 million Chilean pesos, and the activities are oriented towards getting the product market fit. And finally, we have the growth program, which is focused on scalability. So if you are trying to reach new markets, if you have the challenge on how to build a bigger team, or how to retain your clients or your members of the team, so the growth program is for you. The support we give to Our growthers are 75 million Chilean pesos, and obviously a kind of launch pad to internationalization and expansion of your business. And now Danny is going to explain to you what do we do here at Startup Chile specifically to support your startup success.
Right. I'm going to talk about, hello everyone. I'm going to talk about what do we have to offer you as a member of the Startup Chile Fund. Okay, so first of all, we have the resources, which is our the equity-free founding, which means that we do not take any part of your company, and a free co-work space, which is where we are right now with Sebastian, actually. It's in the Santiago Centro, which is the capital of Chile, which is Santiago, and in the center of Santiago, we have Santiago Centro. And we are right now here, and we have amazing networking here happening all the time. Regarding also the resources, we have exclusive benefits, which are credits with a third-party platforms for operational directions, business management, for example, and legal support. And we have our perks, our partners here in the, for example, orientation week, in which where you can see all of the perks that we have as the exclusive benefits of our program. On second place, we have the acceleration, which is the acceleration part of our program, which is a huge value that we have, which are the mentoring activities. You actually have mentors guiding you throughout all of the acceleration program. You have peer-to-peer sessions, which you can discuss fundamental, for example, issues that you may be having in the same industry. For example, you have academies all along the acceleration program regarding, for example, how to get to your for example, the design of your startup, to how to get to with the laws here in Chile and all of that. You can have office hours with experts that we have, and the pitch trainings, which also is a huge value for us, in which we start with the pitch training, which are in zero, and our startups are kind of shy with their pitch. And then by the second or the third pitch training to the pitch day, we see how much have you improved with your pitch and your startup. Then we have the connections, which actually are the corporate networks, the network of investors, the government institutions. As Seba said, we are a public fund, we are a public policy. So we have the one-to-one government institutions link, and some also universities. So to see it in numbers, we have them. Seba, if you can please go. Thank you. If we can see that in numbers, we have more than 200 voluntary mentors, which most of lots of them are actually alumni. We have more than 100 corporate and government partners. We have more than 100 worldwide partners, and we have more than 6,000 entrepreneurs from all over the world. So I know maybe most of you are foreign entrepreneurs, and you may be having questions about how is the living in Chile and all of that. We have actually alumni that may help you with that. And we have more than 100 investors and VC networks with us. So as I said before, maybe you are foreign entrepreneurs and you may be having questions about how is the soft landing in Chile, where are what we can offer is actually a 2-year temporary residency here in Chile, which allows you to work here, the full assistance throughout all of the process, from the start of your application process till you get your Chilean ID card. And then the opportunity to open a Chilean bank account with our partners, and the support of our from one alumni that may have your same nationality or it's the same industry and all of that. And last but not least, we have the community, which are more than 3,000 startups that been through the Startup Chile program since its beginning. More than 6,000 entrepreneurs have been here with us. We have communications of the opportunities from our networks and for our entrepreneurs and events and occasion for networking and building relationships, which is actually a huge thing that we have here at the Startup Chile. Our community, it's one of our best ones, and it's really, really huge.
Okay, and Danny, can we check the main dates we have to consider in order to apply to Startup Chile? So entrepreneurs, take notes of the following words from Danny.
Yes, okay. So as you can see here in our timeline, for the Build, Ignite, and Growth generation in the batch number 9, we have the same dates for all of the generation. Okay, the three of you start at the same dates. So the most important one for right now, as Amparo said, is this Friday. Okay, this Friday we have the end of the applications. Okay, it cannot be changed. It will not be changed. It cannot be extended. You will not have any kind of, if you're in any kind of, please, can you give me 5 more minutes? No, we cannot. That's the same opportunity for you all. So the end of the applications are at 1 p.m., right, Seba?
Yeah, 1 p.m. Chilean time, which is
Okay.
GMT -3, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Thank you. It's the 29th. So from the 29th till January 29th or 31, we will share with you the results. So we will have December and January for the evaluation process. Okay, you may be having, if you get selected or get into the second stage of the evaluations, you may be having the interviews in that amount of time. Okay, so in December or January. So keep that in mind. And we will share with you the results by the end of January, and then we will have to be confirmed. But in March we will be starting the program. Okay, so what's very, very important for you to start working on right now, also the application process. Of course, you will have to start your application process here in our link in the site, but you will have to start with the apostille criminal record. Okay, you have to start right now if you want to get here by March. Okay, so be very, very mindful of that. And if you're having any questions about anything that we have been talking about, please leave them in the chat so Amparo can talk to us and maybe ask the questions that you may be having. So, Seba, if you want to say something about the dates.
Yeah, so please don't rush finishing the application form during the, I don't know, 2 days before the deadline, because you need to get some feedback from, I don't know, other entrepreneurs, your mentors, advisors. And it is a really bad idea to send the application form, I don't know, 5 minutes before the closing time of the application process, because obviously we are receiving a lot of applications during the last 15 minutes, and the platform we use used to collapse. So leverage the time you have. You have 4 days to finish the application, review it, and then send it in advance, you know. So 2 days in advance, it is fair enough. And you're not going to have any issue if you do that. So have that in mind because it's super important. If not, you are in risk, you are jeopardizing the opportunity to send the application form by the time we ask. Yeah. Okay, so Danny, now we can go through some tips because we know that entrepreneurs always have some questions, and obviously we can tell them some of the things we have learned evaluating applications and obviously in our um, experience here at Startup Chile. So let's play good idea and bad idea. What do you mean by that, Danny? What is a good idea and a bad idea for you in terms of an application process?
Well, the good idea is actually how do we like to see the applications, for example, or actually what we want to see in an application. A bad idea, maybe it's what we have been like looking into, and we will say like, no, that's not actually how to apply to a startup to the program.
Yeah, and I would say that sometimes we see more bad ideas than good ideas. Okay, so the first one is explaining a specific problem, so the explanation of the problem is important in terms of an application process, because not only the Startup Chile staff is going to review your application, but external judges too. And at the very beginning, they are going to seek, they are going to try to find where is the problem you're trying to solve. So a bad idea is to talk about general aspects of the problem, or just, I don't know, just the context you're talking about. So for example, here, a bad idea could be the problem that I want to attack through my solution is global warming, which is causing environmental disasters around the world. That's public information. So to understand more data and what have been the research you have conducted. So Danny, what would be a better idea to explain the problem you want to solve?
Well, actually, I would say that's all about the metrics and all about the data, as we can see here. And I will read to you actually which could be a great idea and what we look into the applications. Okay, so for example, the same problem, but it's actually explained a little bit more detailed and a lot into what your startup is attacking. So in this day and age, and according to the Office research, 1 billion plastic tons are dropped into the ocean each year. Due to the new regulations, companies face fines for not properly disposing the waste they generate. Okay, companies spend more than 20% of their total costs in dealing with this issue. That's why we created a new logistic software for recycling plastic bottles in the fastest and efficient way, to decreasing costs by at least 10%. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a problem, and that's how much how do we deal with it as the startup. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously, if you have started doing some, I don't know, client interviews, if you have read some papers or reports about the situation on that industry, it is a good way to demonstrate you have been validating the problem too. So, summarizing, general information, it is good enough, but not to convince us that you have understood the problem in depth. So including data, including the knowledge you have, if you have been facing the problem, it is the best way to explain the problem you want to solve. So next one, Danny, validation makes the difference. Okay, so obviously the validation process, it is most, I don't know, so the fit with validation is in build and ignite. Some of the companies we select in growth, they have already validated some things, you know. But if you are in application, if your application is from the build program or the ignite program, validation, it is key to demonstrate that you have something. So Danny, which is a not so good a way to explain the validation you have so far.
Okay, yes. So actually, this happens a lot. I know that many of you wants to apply for the Build or the Ignite program, and I know that some of you may have not validated, or you think that you have not validated your idea. Okay, so for example, some of you may say, we haven't proven our solution with potential clients because it's just an idea and we intend to test it with the solution with the startup team. Or I have spoken to all of my friends and they loved it. This explained very well our commercial validation, okay? So why this is a bad idea is actually your friends and, for example, your mother, your father, I don't know, your family are not your potential clients, okay? So this is actually a bad idea because it does not kind of prove us that you have validated actually your idea. There's a lot of ways that you as an idea or as a concept can validate it, and we will actually look into how do you kind of prove to us how you have validated your idea in this good idea, which is actually for our idea or our concept.
Yeah, and actually, if your friends or family don't have the problem, they're not going to evaluate that aspect. So they're going to tell you some, I don't know, opinions about the potential solution you want to build. So a better way to approach the validation process is, as I mentioned before, having clients interviews and to get some relevant insights. So the number is not so relevant, but the learning you have got from the clients, or if you already have tested the solution through some pilots, or I don't know, if you have a demo and you are exposing your demo towards the actual clients. Or obviously, if you already have some sales or if you got some revenue, that's the best way to demonstrate that you have traction, you know, and how this traction is growing month by month, for example. Yeah. So the next one, Danny, is about competitors. Have you heard the startups or the entrepreneurs that always say, I don't have neither competitors nor substitutors? And that's common, you know?
Yes, yes, a lot. Actually, I have heard we are the first ever solution for this problem. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. We have heard that. Okay, so maybe if you start looking into, you start Googling the problem, you start Googling your solutions on maybe to start looking into what are you trying to actually solve, you will see that there's actually lots of solutions for that problem. Maybe you have a unique idea of how to solve it. We have seen actually lots of first ideas, but they actually know that they are competitors. They have actually competitors, even though they are the first idea. Okay, so for example, a bad idea is that we are a unique solution available in the market. In fact, we couldn't even find similar solutions in Google, okay? That's a really, really bad idea because maybe you're a startup, but your competitors are traditional markets, for example, are traditional entities, are, for example, that you have competitors, okay? Maybe there's not other startup that does the same, but there's another kind of solution or thing or policy, for example, that makes have or a tax solution. Okay, so maybe Seba, if you can say to us how can you present if you think that you're the first one ever, how can you present that as a good idea?
Yeah, and even so the solution or the experiment which has been created by your potential clients could be your competitor, you know? So obviously, if a company has a problem, they are trying to solve it in, I don't know, in different manners. So that's a competitor or a substitutor too. So the company, if you're a B2B startup, so the company needs to take a decision to, I don't know, to forget the things they have been doing and to integrate a new solution too. So a good idea. So the text says there are some competitors that are trying to solve the same problem. Okay, that's good because so you are demonstrating that you have been doing some research about the industry, but they require too many human resources and the setup process requires too many months. We are faster and more efficient. So that's the value proposition. So that's your promise. We are going to do this process faster than my competitors or in a more efficient way. And obviously, you can explain how you are faster and more efficient. So that's the magic about explaining how different are you from your competitors. Okay, next one is scalability. Scalability is part of the DNA of your startup. Obviously, you can start as a local business, as a local experiment, but you need to grow. You need to expand your business if you want to be a proper startup. So, Danny, what's the, I don't know, the worst way to explain scalability?
Yes, actually, the worst way to explain scalability is we create IT solutions based on the need and the requirements of our clients. Okay, we cannot emphasize this enough. A solution that's a different solution for each of your clients is not scalable. Okay, it has to be a startup or a solution that can be applied here, can be applied in some other countries, can be applied all over the world, and can be capable to give you and give your clients and fill their needs as much as they want. Okay, but it cannot be a solution for each of your clients.
Yeah, actually, tailor-made solutions are not so scalable, but if you convince us that this tailor-made solution is just a pilot to learn about the process and learn about one client towards the automatization or, I don't know, the dynamization of your company, that will be good. So at the very beginning, it is fair enough to do things that are not scalable, but by definition, if your company is not scalable, nothing to do. A good way to explain the scalability is our technology gives us the component of scalability, you know, so obviously technology sometimes in the core of your business will give you the scalability component, enable us to attend different clients from any part of the world quickly. On the other hand, if you are a science-based company or if you have a device, for example, intellectual property protection could be the gold of your scalability in terms of, I don't know, I'm going to develop this technology and then I'm going to use my patent or my design to do a kind of a license to other companies that need my technology to operate in a better way. So both are good arguments towards the scalability of your startup. Danny, why Chile and Latam are suitable for your business? So obviously, we're not looking for entrepreneurs that just want to visit our national parks that are extremely nice, but obviously companies that want to settle their businesses up here in Chile and to make a real impact. So what about this description? Chile is a great place to start our business. I love Chile and all its places. It is too general. What's your opinion, Danny?
Yes, no, that's actually, as you said, it's kind of a personal appreciation, right? It's kind of, I like Chile, I love it. I have seen many TikToks and reels and know about that, about the natural beauty of it. Yes, Chile is beautiful from the north to the south, but we actually want to hear and want to see why Chile is a great place to start and establish your company and your startup, right? We are not taking, we are not talking about you and your personal appreciations about our country, okay? So why is Chile a great place to start your startup here and establish your company? It's because Chile, for example, it's a great platform for you. And as you can say it here and you can see, for example, a good idea to state that Chile is a great place to your startup is that we consider Chile our first step to reach the Latin market, for example. We intend to test our solution in Chile, having already contacted relevant stakeholders and XNI to test and scale to our other countries. Also, we have more than six Chilean companies in our pipeline of potential clients. Okay, so that's a great example on how to establish that Chile actually it's a great platform to you and your startup.
Yeah, if you have already talked to some clients, if you have made some deep research about the industry, if you know the big players on that industry, if you, I don't know, have a list of your potential clients, that is a better explanation on how Chile could be the launch pad of your company. Okay, that was our game, Danny. It was fantastic, I think. Um, to finish this great presentation, we are going to give some extra advice to our applicants. So go ahead.
Okay, great. This is actually very, very important for you as we are talking in English, so we may think that most of you are foreign entrepreneurs, okay? So that's a lot of warnings that you may have to take before getting into this Startup Chile program and Startup Chile kind of experience, okay? So if you can go on with the slides, please. Thank you. For foreign startups, we highly recommend to consider these three things, okay? So, first of all of the documents that you have to gather for your 2-year work visa are from your country of permanent residency, okay? So, for example, you are right now in the USA, okay? But you have a permanent residency there. Okay, so you are having your startup there and all of that, and you have been in the USA, for example, for the last 2 years. Okay, but your permanent residency is, for example, in Peru. Okay, you have to go back to Peru to have all of your documents gathered from your permanent residency. Okay, so please, if you're having any questions regarding this, you can leave them in the chat. But you will have to have all of the documents from the country of permanent residence. Again, that's highly, highly important, because if you do all of the documents of the country that you are residing right now, and you don't have a permanent residency, none of that will work. Okay, you cannot access to our 2-year visa. Okay, then you will have to have an updated international passport. Okay, we have had some issues regarding this because if you do not have at least 19 months from February of 2025, you won't be able to get here and get your 2-year work visa, because the 2-year work visa kind of requires that you have your international passport updated. So if your passport kind of expires this year or the next year, you will have to update that. Okay, so it takes a lot of time to update your international passport in some countries. Okay, it can take up to 3 months. So please start looking into that, because otherwise you won't be able to get here. Okay, and third, and actually it's kind of the most important one, you have to have your police record certificate apostilled. Okay, this takes about, I will say that, about a month and a half. Okay, up to 2 months actually. This takes a lot of time, and it has to be from the country that you have your permanent residence. Okay, so you'll have to go to where you get the police record, and then you will have to go to your nearest consulate, for example, or you will have to go to you can go to the Chilean consulate, or you can go to your national affairs office, and you will have to get that apostille. Okay, that takes a lot of time, and we have had some cases that document is not done before the date, and they won't and though they weren't able to get here to Chile. Okay, so we are giving you all of these tips and tricks to get you here to Chile in a safe way. Okay, and as soon as you can, once you get selected. Okay, so if you're having a good faith in you, please start your apostille criminal record. Okay, so yes, that's for the foreign entrepreneurs. And if you
Danny, sorry, yeah, what about this reminder we have here?
I was looking into that actually before you were going to go to the next slide. This is very, very important, and actually the form will not let you go on as a foreign company. Okay, you will have to apply as a natural person. Okay, we have some of you that may be a foreign that has a Chilean company. You can apply as that Chilean company if you have, of course, the 10% of withhold of that company. But if you're a foreign entrepreneur and have a foreign company, you will not be able to apply as the foreign company. You will only be able to apply as a natural person. Okay, and be very mindful that if you actually apply with team members, those team members will have to go through the same process as you with all of this. Okay, so get your team members to get their police certificate record apostille and their passport, and in the permanent residency country. Okay, be very, very mindful of that.
Okay, so that means that only if you have a national company here in Chile, you can apply as a legal entity, right?
Right. You can only apply as a legal person if you have a Chilean company, not any other way.
Okay. And what about Chilean startups?
Okay, so if you're Chilean and you're looking into this webinar, tomorrow we will have this same one in Spanish, maybe if you're having any kind of questions. But if you're a Chilean startup and you're a natural or legal person, you will have to take this in mind, okay? So there's some incompatibilities of Corfo funds. By our terms and conditions. There are some CARFO that are incompatible with the Startup Chile. So please go look into the terms and conditions. It's the same, very first link in the application process. You will have to read them because you'll, once you get accepted in here, you will be kind of signing that you are okay with those terms and conditions and you have read them. But some of the Corfo funds, if you have been awarded with, are incompatible with the Build, Ignite, or growth funds. Okay, and then we have the one Corfo fund at a time. So it doesn't matter if you don't have any incompatibility with the Corfo funds. If you are right now executing an active Corfo funds and you have, for example, the end date for December on the next year, you won't be able to get into the Startup Chile program, okay? So it's very important for you to, if you're a Chilean startup or if you're a foreign that actually got granted with some Chilean Corfo funds, please, you have to start working on the report to get that done before March of 2025. Yes, so that's about the Chilean startup. You are muted, Seba? Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens if you don't do that in a proper timing?
Well, that actually can risk this areas and this kind of these tips that we are giving you will help you to avoid issues such as having delays in receiving your 2-year work visa, for example, having delays in receiving the Corfo funds provided by Startup Chile, and increase the probability of not being part of the Startup Chile program in the future, which is the batch, okay? So if you get selected and have, for example, if you have not listened to us and have any of these problems, you won't be able maybe to execute the program and execute the acceleration program or the Startup Chile program.
Okay. So final advice for our applicants then.
Okay, so first of all, as I said before, read the terms and conditions. So maybe lots of you have where are the terms and conditions? I cannot find them. Okay, the terms and conditions are, as I said before, the very first link that you will have to click in the application form. Okay, so it's read our terms and conditions and you can click on that, download them, read them. The terms and conditions are in Spanish, okay? So if you're having any trouble with that, we are sorry, but the terms and conditions are for Corfo and we are a Chilean institution. But yeah, you'll have to read them, maybe translate them. And if you're having any questions, hello@startupchile.org about the terms and conditions, okay? So secondly, choose your team leader wisely. You won't be able to change it, okay? This is very, very important because if you're having any kind of, for example, if you won't be able to get here to Chile, if you won't be able to kind of get your passport on time, if you have, for example, a criminal record, I don't know if you cannot get your criminal record, you won't be able to get here to Chile. So choose very wisely some person that can execute the 4, 6, or 12 months of execution here in Chile at all time, because then you won't be able to change it. Okay, what it's answered in the application form, it's written in stone. Okay, it cannot be changed. And third, the project must be executed in Chile. So be very, very careful about who you are choosing to be the team leader, because they will have to be and remain here in Chile.
Yeah, so
And
same
then,
if
yes.
you are, oh, sorry, same if you are the I don't know, the person in charge of raising funds for your startup, or I don't know, if you are going to open a new market and you know in advance that you're not going to be able to stay here in Chile, please choose a different team leader. So the requirement, if you are applying as a legal entity, is that the team leader must have at least 10% of the stakes of the company. And guys, so the project must be executed in Chile because this is a public grant. So obviously public funds. So the minimum things you can do as a give back is to stay here and to impact the community, to know the ecosystem, to have clients here in Chile. And the only one manner to do that is visiting our country, staying here, and to connect with the local community of startups and big corporations and the rest of the ecosystem, which is huge here in this country. What else, Danny?
Okay, so as we've been saying, only the team leader can execute the program. Okay, as Seba was saying, they have to be here in Chile, only the team leader. Okay, you can also bring your team members, but the team leader will be the one in charge of executing the program and actually will be the one in front and the signing one to Corfo. Okay, will be the one that is towards Corfo. Okay. And fifth, the team leader, sorry, must be 100% dedicated to the program. Okay, you will not be able to have a full-time job in another company, for example, in another country, and all of that. You won't be able to do that. Okay, I know there must be a lot of questions about the dedication. The dedication starts when the program starts. Okay, so you can for now have your income. We know that you cannot live without an income, but once the program starts, you will be able to give yourself a salary, okay, for the program. So don't worry about it. That's why we ask for the 100% dedicated time to the program, okay? And six, read the application form carefully, okay? As we have been doing throughout this webinar, we gave you the tips and tricks on how to fill your application form, but please read very well what is the question asking, okay? Read very, very carefully the application and the terms and conditions, okay?
Okay, so go back to Amparo now, that is going to organize this Q&A session for us.
Hello, hello. I'm about to pin myself. There we go. Thank you guys for that introduction to Startup Chile and kind of went deeper on how to apply. We do have a lot of questions here on YouTube, so I'm gonna start by reading one from Vicente. He says, does a recommendation letter need a special signature, or do you send the confirmation to the recommender? How does the recommendation letter work?
Yeah, okay. So the recommendation letter is a complement on your application. Obviously, if your letter is, I don't know, from a client, it should be fair enough if you sign it or if your clients sign it, but it is a complement. So obviously, if you have a really good recommender, upload the recommendation letter and obviously in a formal way. So we're going to check that.
Perfect. Fabian says, from the application to the results, will there be anything else that we will have to do, like a meeting, a pitch session, something, Daniela?
Okay, from the now and to the end results, right?
Mhm.
Yes, as I said, the dates are to be confirmed, but if you go through the stages, you will be having a session with the staff, which are actually evaluating your startup, and you will have kind of an interview, for example, to show your demo, to explain better your startup. We will have some questions for you, and you will have to kind of defend your startup. Maybe Sela, you can talk to us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, you made it, Danny, but yeah, in general terms, so afterwards, the evaluation of the application form, we are going to do a kind of cut in the application number of the that we received, and a smaller proportion of the applicants will be interviewed by the staff. And it is mandatory for team leaders. So you have to be aware that if the team leader is not in the actual interview, so the interview won't be happening.
Good. Seba, what are you looking for? This is a saying, what are you looking for the most when it comes to startups applying for Ignite? So what's the most important when applying to Ignite?
I think demonstrating some traction in terms of deep validation, so you have interviewed a lot of clients, you have relevant insights, or you have an actual MVP that has been used by clients. You have been running some prototypes, some pilots, or if you have some traction in terms of revenue. I think that's the most important thing about the Ignite application.
Perfect. Vicente also says, do we need to provide evidence for our statements and actions? Is it enough to cite publications and show screenshots, or do we need to submit specific types of evidence? Dani?
Yeah,
Oh,
Danny, go ahead.
No, if you want to, just go ahead. Maybe he can answer those questions better because he's the one
okay.
kind of in charge of it.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Seba.
so all the resources you have will be great to evaluate your company. But having considered you need to consider that obviously we're going to check a lot of application forms and the external judges too. So please, if you want to add some information, some reports or some graphs, so they must be straightforward. Okay, so we are not going to read an external paper or a report from McKinsey, for example, that, I don't know, gives some arguments about your application. But it is good enough if you have some good evidence or data and you want to show us in a different manner, not just texting the information you have in a graphic way will be great, but consider that enough of information, it is more complex to process.
Good. If we do the application in English, the video and demo can be in Spanish or has to be also in English. I can answer this one. So Fabian, And to everyone who has the same question, the application can be in English or Spanish. The thing is that it has to be like the whole thing has to be done in the same language. Okay, so that's it. Also, Valentina says, can I apply with the email of my startup while being a natural person? When it comes to the section of team leader, I put my name. Is it okay? I guess it's okay to put any email. Just show us if you're applying as a natural person or the other, what's the other called?
Legal person.
Legal
Legal
person.
person or natural person, right?
That's right. Okay, so Gert says, our company is more than 36 months old, but we pivoted approximately 10 months ago. Can we still apply to build with this company, or is it better to apply as a natural person and formalize it again?
It is a Chilean project or
I
French
guess
company.
because it says it's 36 months old from like Servicio de Impuestos Internos.
Okay, so they have more than 24 months active in Servicio de Impuestos Internos, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so the eligibility of build doesn't accept that kind of project. So yeah, if you want to start again and to incorporate your company again, closing the other one and start the whole process again, it's good. So the recommendation is, yeah, apply as a natural person, but you have to close the other company. If not, you're going to be in potential issues in the future. So yeah.
Cool. How can we illustrate problem validation if we have not reached sales yet? Are interviews and research attraction useful for this part of the app? Absolutely. Can anyone go deeper on that?
Okay. Yeah, so client interviews are really nice, but it is not enough to say, I have interviewed more than 100 people. We want to understand what you have learned from that process, you know? So explain us what have been the most important insights you have got from those interviews. And obviously, it is important to understand the hypothesis you had at the very beginning and how they have been changing during this iterative process. So that's good enough to demonstrate you have been learning about the problem and you have a more accurate description of it.
Good. Valentina says, related to competitors, and that this is something that we saw in Good Idea, Bad Idea. Is it okay to explain them, or is it better if we explain what makes us different? I think both of them is true, right?
Yeah, Danny, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you look like you want to answer
No,
them.
yeah. No, yeah. Actually, that's what we want to see. You know your competitors and why you are different, actually. Yeah, we like to see when they explain their competitors, some of them might kind of write the names of the competitors, have really, really mapped, and what do they do, and what do we have to offer. Actually, it's really, really great to see. Yeah.
Yeah, and do not do this kind of checklist in which you're saying, I'm the best one on this field, but we need to understand that you know the market, and obviously part of the market are your competitors too, you know. So describe them, give us some information about what they do and how you are different, or how you are, I don't know, creating some barriers in terms of your competitors.
Perfect. Mavera or Mavira, tell me if I'm pronouncing that right, says, if we do not already have relationships in Chile, does that work against our application?
Yeah, I mean, so the idea of a startup Chile is attracting talented people from different countries to start a business here, and part of that is to start learning about businesses in the country. And it is fair enough if you already do not have some connections. But the important thing is do your work, you know, so explore the market, explore the players of your industry, identify the competitors, identify your potential clients. No matter if you don't want actual connections, but demonstrate us that you have made your work and you know, at least in general terms, how this industry works here in this country.
Danny, you can answer this one. Fabian says, can the salary be for more than one team member?
Okay, yes, actually, well, that's very important because you have a limit of team members on each program. For build, correct me if I'm not wrong, Seba, but build is up to 2 people and growth, ignite and growth is up to 3 people. And for the build and ignite program, you can give yourselves a salary for the team leader and team members up to 1 million Chilean pesos, okay? And for the growth program, it's actually a kind of an understanding with your business, which be the one in the technical part of your startup, looking into your progress here in Startup Chile. But yes, you can pay yourself a salary as you team leader and team members, and for each of you will have a limit for the build and impact program up to 1 million Chilean pesos net. Okay, so yeah, that's about it.
That's good.
And well, I want to say something that if you're foreign entrepreneurs or are Chilean and have foreign team members, in order to get them the salary, you will have to bring them here to Chile and make all of the process to get the work visa and all of that, because you won't be able to pay them a salary if they are in the foreign country and giving you the foreign invoices and all of that. No, does not work here in their terms and conditions. It's established that the team members have to be paid in the Chilean tax department, towards the Chilean tax department and with the Chilean invoices.
Good. Do we have any recommendations regarding apartments or flats where people can stay here in Santiago?
Okay,
Danny?
so yes, we actually, well, we as a public entity cannot give you those kind of recommendations, but as we said, we have a huge community of foreign entrepreneurs. If you get selected in the landing process, we will have lots of talking with the alumni, talking with the foreign entrepreneurs, and they will give you some tips and tricks. We'll have a Notions page in which we have all a full regarding the accommodation and regarding of how do you get an accommodation, how do you pay it, how it's we have some platforms that the alumni uses and all of that. So yes, we have kind of we can help you with that through our alumni and your soon to be landing body.
Good. Natalia says, if I want to apply to a build phase that you have, can I do it with an idea, or do I need to have started activities like a company? Can we start from zero to develop the idea here?
Yeah, you can apply in the idea stage, but the focus of the build program is to, at the very beginning, kind of destroy that idea. I'm not saying that the idea is a bad one, but obviously you have a lot of assumptions to validate. So the better way to get more chances to be accepted in the build program is to do the work in advance. So again, interview some people, talk about the problem with them. So the idea is not just the important thing in the build phase. So the important thing is the problem you want to solve and how this team is the best one to solve that problem. The solution will change. 100% sure that the solution or part of that solution will change in the future. So forget about the idea. So focus on the problem and try to demonstrate us that you have been learning about that from clients, not from your friends or your parents, as Danny mentioned before.
Good, thank you. Nan Kun says, what if my legal entity in Chile is still under 24 months old, but I have sold over 40K over the past 6 months? To which program should I apply? And should I do it as a private individual? That's an Ignite, right?
I think so. So I know that he mentioned the incorporation of the company, but now if he initiated commercial activity in a formal way in impuestos internos. So that's the relevant thing, you know. So sometimes you incorporate the company and you do the other process at the same time, but not all entrepreneurs do that process in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, so the important thing is the inicial actividades.
That's right. Also, as a private individual, it depends on what your entity looks like. If you are a foreign startup, you cannot apply as a private individual.
Yeah, he can send that question to hello@startupchile.org. Yeah.
Yeah, we can look into that. Hormos says, we're a team of 2 people and the team leader is a woman. We have just run a WordPress website related to tourism. My question is that if we can apply with just an idea and a website with few users.
Yeah, but the important thing is what's the website about, you know? So I don't know if it's just for information and as a user, I can't do anything. So maybe you need to explain in depth how this first experiment will turns in a different thing in the future, you know. So yeah, it is a good way to start a company, so doing something, but you need to go deeper on that exploration, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. We have the last couple of questions, so if you wanted to ask something, this is the moment to do so. Jose Gomez says, can working on an idea's MVP, validation, and winning a competition, even without a legal entity, count as co-funding a startup? I don't know.
So maybe he meant because in the application form we ask how are you going to do the co-financing of the project, you know. So maybe Danny, you can explain that and how it works.
Yeah, of course. Well, the co-founding is actually that, well, as we said before, we are a public entity, we are equity free fund, but the fund will be given to you and you will have to kind of state and you will have to present all of the expenses that you've made throughout the program as a Build, Ignite, or Growth. For example, in Build, we give you 15 million Chilean pesos, but you will have to present towards Corfo your co-found, okay? Your amount that you will have to pay also, okay? That fee is actually 10% of the whole fund, which will leave you and about 17 million Chilean pesos, okay? So the question that Seba was talking about is that you'll have to state to us how are you kind of looking into, or how do you look forward to co-found that amount? Okay, it will be 1 million Chilean pesos for the build program, 1.5 million. In the Ignite program, it's about 3 million Chilean pesos, and in the growth program is 75 million Chilean pesos. And that you will have to, for example, state to us, well, we have that amount in our bank account, so there's no worries about that. We have that amount. And if you don't have it, is, for example, as Amparo said, that person actually have sales, and you can co-found that with the amount of sales that you may be planning to do, and have that found in your bank account by the time that you will have to present those expenses to Corfo. Okay, so that's kind of how do you will do the flow of cash that to get to that co-founding.
I'm also wondering if he meant, or they meant, in terms of experience. So you could say that you have experience working with startups, maybe, but I don't know. No. Yeah, thank you, Danny. Francisca says, hi, I'm the team leader and I didn't have a LinkedIn. I will create it now, but I never did it because I never got my degree. Could the few contacts that will have my LinkedIn impact the application? Not at all. We do not care about that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that you have a LinkedIn or not. We do not see that. Okay. And the last question actually is from Fabian. He says, for the legal documents of the international founders, that has to be the apostille on. If it's from Brazil, does it have to be translated to Spanish, Dani?
Okay, yes, actually, if you're from a country that do not speak or have as an kind of sorry, it's the official language of the country, English or Spanish, it has to be translated to English or Spanish. Okay, so the apostille criminal record has to be translated to English or Spanish, because those are the languages that the immigration kind of offices kind of review the applications. But actually, that's all in the site of the migration sites, and it states that it has to be in English or Spanish. Also, it cannot be from last year. Okay, so if you have made this process, you will have to do it again. Okay, so be very, very mindful of that, because sometimes it's a question that kind of comes up.
Good. And now we actually have the last question that just got in. So Seba, you can answer this one. I want to apply to the build program and I'm a woman. Do I have to register a company besides the idea I have in mind?
Not at all. So you can apply as a natural person. It is not necessary to incorporate a company on this stage at all. So my recommendation, besides the application to a Startup Chile, is to, incorporating your company is a good decision when you have a good argument. For example, if you have some clients that are asking for, I don't know, a contract to use your service, but just to apply to a public fund. So my recommendation is wait till you need to do it like a mandatory thing, So apply as a natural person. And if you want to incorporate your company throughout the acceleration program, you can do it.
That's right. Yes, so that's it. Jose says, so he meant the question on has the co-founder founded or co-founded any other startups in the past? So it is about experience. I would mention what you did. I mean, I would totally mention what you said, that you helped create the MVP, validation, you won a competition, just mention that. That's great.
Yeah.
So to finish this off, I always like to finish like this, and I want an advice for the people that are applying to Startup Chile. Under 1 minute is just the advice that you have for them. Seba, you're unmuted, so you can start.
Okay. So the advice is, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this presentation, do not finish the application form, 2 days before the deadline. So do it in advance, check it out again and again and again. Try to share it if you have some mentors or other peers that are entrepreneurs too, to check the information you have fill out. And the other recommendation is go straight forward, so avoid including extra information, some elements that are not adding some value to your application. Just go straight forward, ask the questions in a good way, and explore the Chilean market and what are the opportunities you have here in this country.
Dani, what about you?
Yes, I will say my recommendations are read carefully, read the terms and conditions. Metrics are important. And again, read carefully if it says a minute and a half, a minute and a half. Okay, so be very read well, read carefully, and kind of just start on your documentation if you're a foreign entrepreneur, and that will be it. Actually, good luck.
Great. My advice is always pay attention to the video. It makes a difference. So it's easy to do it in time and do it wisely. So yes, thank you to everyone who joined us today. Tomorrow we have the same webinar, but in Spanish. So if you couldn't get your questions there, but you can maybe do it in Spanish tomorrow. And yeah, good luck with your application, and we'll see you. Hopefully we'll see you in March for the program.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.